I think the first few rounds, he looked like he was a bit starstruck.
I think what got it for me was he was disappointed that he lost.
I mean, Berlanga was better than expected.
He's a young kid.
I think the difference was that it's experience.
He's the best super middleweight on the planet at the moment, and that's it. So, is there anyone bigger in boxing?
There are people who are close, like Joshua.
Canelo Benavidez.
I think that's a close.
I think if Better Biev wins any, it'll be a Canelo Better Biev.
Well, the problem is Canelo Bivol, I think at 175 Bivol just beat him. Welcome back to BoxCast. In this episode, we're going to look at the fights that just happened between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga. Canelo won as expected, although he didn't get his KO as we predicted. Although it looked like it after the first 3-4 rounds that it was going to be fairly quicker than we predicted.
He was trying.
He tried hard. Gave it all. We got to give. I think we got to give Berlanga some credit. He can take a punch, and I think the first few rounds he looked like he was a bit starstruck, which from all the trash talking you wouldn't have thought. But then at the end when he hugged him and he's like, "Oh, you're my idol, you're my thing," it sort of starts to make a bit of sense, doesn't it? Yeah. That is. I think he started with like a bit like that.
Berlanga's He's never fought on that stage before.
Against that level of opponent. So.
Even take the level of opponents away, he's just never fought on that.
Yeah. It's a big step up.
Yeah. You got the Mexican crowd there, the Puerto Rican crowd there. It was noisy in there. He's a young kid.
Yeah. I think the difference was that it's experience. You could see the ring IQ,
yeah, it's experience.
The ring generalship of Canelo.
I mean,
and I think Canelo gave it a proper go. That was Canelo at his tune.
Yeah, Canelo was trying to take his head clean off.
Yeah. And about the third, fourth round when he got knocked down, it looked like that was going to happen after the first. He was just warming up into it.
To be honest, I think I'd have knocked most super middleweights out, that left hook.
I think so.
But it was like a flash knockdown.
Well, I think Berlanga took it more as like a bit like Munguia took his, where it's knocked him down, but it was more like a wake-up call. Yeah. And after that, he sort of started to get into it. I think it took him a round or two, but then like the second half of the fight, he was quite...
I mean, I didn't give
him... A little bit of going on the ropes, I don't understand.
No, so much. I didn't give him one round, though.
I don't think I gave him a round as we went along, but I gave him one, I think, after the end, just as a sympathy vote.
I mean, the scores, they're really wide, but it was a competitive fight.
Yeah. I think it was only...
I think Canelo was getting a bit frustrated in there that he wasn't getting the knockout. So he was trying to force it a little bit too much, Canelo. Mm-hmm. It's Mexican Independence Day, isn't it? I think so. He wanted the knockout. It's against Puerto Rico. Mexico, Puerto Rico's are just
and a bit of trash talk at the beginning.
Huge fights.
He had a bit more venom in his punches than he did against Munguia.
He threw a lot more punches than I thought he would as well.
His punch output was and he started quite quick as well, which is unusual. Yeah, first round, right, a little bit they were feeling each other out, but like he sort of put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, from the second round. The third round got him on knockdown. To be honest, at that point I was thinking, the Berlanga was all talk. There ain't much here that this is just kind of one-way contest.
No, I mean, how old's Berlanga? Is he 24?
He's 24 or 26 or something, wasn't he? Let me have a look while you're...
One of them too. He's going to learn a lot from that fight, though. Berlanga.
Well, I think the thing that he didn't get taken out to himself has given him a lot of confidence.
It's not just that. I think,
and as he improved in the fight.
I think what got it for me was he was disappointed that he lost.
Yeah.
He hasn't just gone, I've turned up for the payday and I've gone 12 rounds with Canelo. He's genuinely disappointed he's lost.
Heard his, like, after thingy talk, it was a bit like... You could see, well, if I'd have started... If it had started like I finished, this would have been, I might have had a chance in this.
So that's good that he's disappointed. I like that.
27 years.
Yeah, I didn't like his trash talking and stuff like that, but he's trying to sell the fight, and
Well, to be honest, I wanted
it
at the first bit, I wanted him to get knocked out because thinking, Canelo's slapping him down into his thing.
Yeah, it worked.
But then as it went on, I became a bit more of a fan. I thought he's actually quite good. And at the end, he was so respectful. And the way he said it, I thought, all right, okay, you were just trying to sell the fight. And yeah, you could sort of understand from his comment about Canelo being his idol, the one he's watching.
Yeah, and I genuinely do believe that.
Yeah. No, I think he was being genuine.
And I think
he was
that's
just saying
why
it.
He's had to do the trash talking to get himself
up and ready for it.
And so that he hasn't gone in the ring and gone, oh, I'm against Canelo.
Well, I think he was a little bit there was a little bit of like the bravado, but I think really there was that until he got knocked down. And then I think like you said, it was like a flash. I mean, it was a hell of a punch. Like, I think I agree with you. I think quite a lot of the super middleweights, whatever, would have been taken out by that. I think they have been in the past.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic. I mean, he only dropped his hand. He set him up for it before, didn't he? But like he didn't quite catch him, and then there he caught him. Pretty flush, and yeah, it was a good knockdown. But he was more like, because he was punching his gloves together, wasn't he? And more like, okay, yeah, I made a mistake there, rather than
like say, I think.
And then he got better.
Yeah, I mean, like say,
I think I gave him the 7th round, where he did get a bit more punch output.
He didn't get any. Maybe the first.
Afterwards, like I said, afterwards, because it was being sympathetic. At the beginning, no, not really.
But I did get the impression that Canelo was getting really frustrated in there, that he couldn't get him out of there, and I think he was trying to force the issue instead of like he usually does, is build up, use that jab, and then
it's like a composed breakdown. And here he
did systematically break him down, but I think he rushed the breakdown a bit too much.
I think there were bits where he was going, putting it a bit too fast. Because, like you said, his punch output, isn't it? It's like
for
his
me,
third round, he's got 20 punches.
By far the best super middleweight on the planet.
But I think we've had this on here, isn't it? Who do you see beating him at super middleweight? I don't think any can. The one we sort of, you thought Munguia and co, but even then we saw not really.
No, he just.
I mean, Berlanga was better than expected, but I think more that he stayed till the end.
Look,
I think skill level, Canelo was.
Everyone says, Canelo picks his fights and he either fights him when they're too old or what. He fought young up and comer, hungry, mandatory.
Yeah, big guy, isn't it? He's like 5 inches taller, I think. Or
so you can't say
3 inches longer reach or something like that.
He doesn't fight the younger up and comers.
No, Canelo doesn't duck. I think we've done our show about this.
Never ducks.
No, I think there is little bits of like, he wants to get things his own way of doing it, but then he is that name. He's
the superstar of boxing.
Yeah, and he's got the following, a little bit of the right to do it from his resume for where he is.
Is there anyone bigger in boxing?
There are people who are close, like Joshua.
Yeah,
when he was. Not at the moment, but when he was.
There's no one bigger in boxing than Canelo.
No.
Plain and simple, there's just no one bigger in boxing than Canelo.
I don't think any of the undisputed champions are bigger.
No.
Well, maybe physically, but not like
he's
the
biggest name in the sport.
He's the biggest name.
And I do believe that. And I think he's going to be the biggest name in the sport for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure he's got that.
Let's be honest.
He needs to do that many more fights. I think he'll pick 1 or 2, 3 and then go.
He's earned his right, hasn't he? If he says, right, I'm fighting him for such amount, he can say that because...
Say that, yeah. He's one of the few that can.
Yeah. Where does he go next?
Well, the obvious one, isn't it? Benavidez, but I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen.
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know.
There's a few...
I mean, it's at super middleweight.
The problem is there's some good up-and-coming ones. There's on Billy, which we've done on Pacheco, and a couple of others, isn't it?
They're not big enough names for him to fight, though.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to make, I think they're in the similar stages to the Munguias and the Berlangas. There's nobody there.
I think Munguia and Berlanga were bigger names, though. But...
Well, I think out of all of them, Munguia was the one who was closest to him in that he had like his 40-odd fights.
I mean, the only 2 fights that people are going to talk about are Crawford
and
Benavidez.
Yeah.
The Crawford fight, to me, it just doesn't make sense. It makes sense for Crawford.
Yeah. We've said it adds to his legacy, but all it does, if Canelo beats him, it gives
it's just
him
like,
nothing.
you beat him a little guy, and what?
Yeah. And if he loses, obviously it destroys his legacy. So
would Benavidez take the Canelo fight now at super middleweight? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think Canelo goes up. I think if it's at super middleweight, I think that's a fight to have.
No, I don't think he does go up.
And then, I mean, the other ones, other than that, is obviously if he does go up in weight. But the problem then is he's already been beaten by Bivol, although he has sort of hinted that he wants to rematch him.
You could see him. I could see him fighting the winner,
especially if Bivol beats. Yeah, well,
Bivol Beterbiev. I could see him fighting the winner.
The only thing there, I think, is if Beterbiev sort of does Bivol over, which we'll find out, and hopefully not too long if nobody gets injured. Do you think he's the one guy who's got the power to take Canelo out? He has got the fireworks in his hands to get.
Do you know something? I know this sounds crazy. I think Canelo Bivol wins.
Yeah.
Canelo Beterbiev, I think Canelo wins.
Okay. Go on, explain. Well, obviously for Bivol, because Bivol's we've seen the blueprint of how Bivol wins.
Bivol's boxing
IQ
is higher, and that's a claim.
His work output and
that's a claim against Canelo, but I think it is. But I think Canelo can land cleanly on Beterbiev, and quite
Beterbiev
often
has been caught.
And I just think Beterbiev is kind of made for the style of Canelo.
Well, they are similar in that they're walking down. They can take a punch, so they do get caught. And even Canelo did a little bit, but for getting back to Berlanga did that. I mean, he didn't do it enough, but once he got into it, like from about the 6, he's doing that 1-2, and he was catching him.
Yeah.
And he did, he caught him a couple of times where he gave him a little bit of a. You could see Canelo had to step back a little bit. Not much.
But you got to remember, Canelo's never ever been knocked down.
Yeah. And he's faced Triple G 3 times. So
and he's been caught flush by Triple G.
The first fight, Triple G caught him with a load of good punches. Even in the other fights.
I mean, Cotto was a huge puncher when he fought Cotto. James Kirkland, Mayweather.
At 168, I don't think there's anybody who's going to... Even Bivol coming down to 168, I don't think... Well, we've seen Bivol couldn't get him out of there, but obviously he outboxed them, and that was the fight. But Beterbiev does have otherworldly power.
No, I just think Canelo beats him, though, weirdly.
Do you think Canelo has a better defence? Because even yesterday when Berlanga was some of his defensive work, even for his
I think it's
Canelo's
out of it. It's Canelo's speed.
Yeah.
His speed of hand, I think, will cause Beterbiev trouble.
In one of the other fights we've sort of said, is he losing it a bit? But I think yesterday was the real Canelo.
Yeah.
And you could see that because he was faster than Berlanga.
But we are just talking,
and with power punches.
Yeah, we are just talking hypothetically. But I could see the winner of that, either that. I think no.
Well, there's been some speculation, isn't it? That
I think if Beterbiev wins any, it'll be a Canelo Beterbiev. I think if Bivol wins, does Canelo? I think Canelo would try and fight Bivol again.
Well, I think he's hinted at it, isn't it? It's whether well, I think he would go up because he'd want the belts. It's obviously the undisputed.
Who would you rather watch, Canelo Bivol or Canelo Beterbiev?
Well, as we already.
Canelo Benavidez.
I think that's a close. Well, the problem is Canelo Bivol. I think at once we've had Bivol just beat him. I think it'll be similar to the way it was before, and Bivol with extra confidence will if he's beaten Beterbiev and he's sort of well, we're going to do a video on this anyway, the Bivol Beterbiev thing. But I've seen some of his in the comments, and he said Beterbiev's a better boxer than Canelo. Now, whether he means he's more dangerous because of the power, maybe some lost in translation, but that he's more dangerous than Canelo. And, well, I think it's a fair few people who say that because of the size and the power. Because there's most of the people, if you see there's sparring partners, is like Beterbiev hits like a super heavyweight. It's that hard, his punches. And it's not like loaded up. It's just every punch is like that hard. And then I've seen another one, which is interesting. We probably should save this for the Bivol Beterbiev, but they're saying that Beterbiev's a better boxer than Bivol, which that one is a little bit. I need to look a bit more into that one, shall we say? But we'll save that for that video. But I'd want to see it. Canelo Benavidez number 1. Get back to the question. Canelo Beterbiev number 2 because we haven't seen it, and then Canelo Bivol would be really good if he's going for the undisputed, because then he's got the chance to become undisputed at super
light heavyweight.
Sorry, he's already at super. Well, he isn't now. He's he's unified, isn't he?
We'll see. I mean, it's interesting. Like, I think the problem with Canelo is you got Mr. Turkey Al Sheikh there, who's trying to call the shots with Canelo. And I don't think that's the right thing to do with Canelo.
Well, I don't think it's working. He's like we said, he's the big enough name that he wants to call the shots. And the position he's in, I think he's got that right. So they need to be both of them need to.
So I think Mr. Turkey
the egos a little bit.
Yeah, I think Mr. Turkey Al Sheikh could do with sitting down with Canelo and having a conversation with him and saying, you know,
or how do we work this out?
How do we?
No, we're going to do this my way.
Because let's be honest, if Turkey Al Sheikh, if he wants another big Riyadh season,
headline with him would be fantastic.
Benavidez Canelo is a huge headline, huge headline fight, and then the winner fights the winner of Bivol Beterbiev.
I think that would be the better path. I think there you've hit it on the head.
But it's going to cost hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But going back to...
Well, I think if you get Canelo Benavidez and then the next one is the winner of them against the winner of Bivol Beterbiev, I think you've got enough pull people want to watch.
I mean, well, money's nothing to Mr. Turkey Al Sheikh, is it really?
Well, I think it's big enough. Well, they've been a bit fairly... I know people keep saying it, but I think they've been fairly sensible in building up. They have built up epic undercards, because if this one wasn't one of theirs, but look at the undercard, it's a huge.
We'll talk about the undercard in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to go with that in the next video.
Going back to Berlanga,
where do you think Berlanga goes? Because I think
he's got huge fights.
His kudos has gone up.
He can go and fight Caleb Plant.
Yeah,
he can go and fight Jaime Munguia.
Yep.
He can fight in Billy. They're all huge fights.
I think that's what we need to see. In the super middleweight, it's a bit boring going to Canelo's level, but I think all of them...
The super middleweight is kind of like...
as well, isn't it?
The heavyweight division.
Shishkin. Yeah.
You've got that one king who's got all the belts. So you've got a...
The others have got to earn the right.
Yeah, but it's not even earn the right, but they're still huge fights.
Well, all of them... But there's a load of them that are potentially... in the heavyweight, there's a load of world-class fighters there as well.
But the same
I think in here there is as well.
World-class fighters, and...
I just think any of them at the moment, none of them are at the level that have, either that they can't compete with Canelo's experience and his boxing IQ. He's just too savvy and too experienced.
He's the best super middleweight on the planet at the moment, and that's it. So...
I think the others need to fight amongst themselves to build up that... Fight amongst themselves to base...
say...
Well, it's probably him, then Benavidez, isn't it? And then the rest of them. So...
Jaime Munguia...
And we don't know what Benavidez is at the moment.
Jaime Munguia Berlanga's a huge fight.
Yeah.
Munguia Plant's a huge fight.
Yeah.
And Billy Plant's a huge
later,
fight. There's loads of big fights. There's 5 or 6 of them there that fight each other, and they're huge fights.
Well, if you do the ring ranking, obviously Canelo's numero uno. It goes without saying. But you got Mbili number 1 as underneath the champion, Munguia number 2, Iglesias Cuban number 3, Pacheco number 4, Shishkin number 5, Bazinian number 6, Berlanga's number 7. There's Martinez coming up at number 8. Okay, right. Shall I say the name? Melikuziev. So I think Uzbek, is he? Oh, let me just check before I make a mistake on that. I get called out.
Where's Munguia?
Number 2, behind Mbili. So Mbili number 1, Munguia number 2, Iglesias number 3. He's unbeaten 12-0 Cuban. Pacheco 22-0 American. Then you got Shishkin 16-0 Russian. Bazinian Canadian 32-0 with 1 draw. Berlanga was 22-0 but 22-1 now. Number 7, number 8 is Martinez, who's I think Argentinian, 18-0. Melikuziev 14-1, and you've got Skull, a Cuban as well, 22-0. And obviously they move around in the others, and then there's 1 or 2 other people in that one, aren't they? Who else have we got on the list that's interesting? Obviously Caleb Plant Derevyanchenko. Who did we watch the fight with, Derevyanchenko?
Who did we watch a fight with?
Billy, wasn't it? Yeah. Was in Billy's with somebody else.
Is Munguia fighting soon? Is it next week? Yeah.
I think it's next week.
Yeah,
He's
against Eric Bazanian.
Yeah, and Billy fought Derevyanchenko, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a few in there that are good, tough fights.
Good fights.
Where they can get that experience level.
Yeah.
And then, depending on what Canelo does, if he retires, if he goes, whatever those fights go, then it's up to one of them to, step up, basically, isn't it? To fill up that part. I mean, it's interesting. Canelo said to him, he goes, yeah, you need to do a bit of work and then, keep your focus better. But he goes, yeah, you can be a world champion. To Berlanga. I think Munguia's got that in him. And Billy, you could see it, right? We've seen a bit less of some of the others, but there's a few there that could, either upcoming or there that they need to sort of plant to put himself back in that level. You don't like him, but it's okay. He is annoying. But he is a good, measure of where you are. Anyway, we'll do him in our, the undercard video.
Yeah. No, it's...
there's enough really good, interesting fights there.
The future is bright for the super middleweight division. Let's just say.
Even if Canelo goes, once Canelo goes...
When will Canelo fight next? What we in? September, October, November. I don't think he'll fight in December. He usually fights in December though, doesn't he?
Yeah. That's why he does it now and then he normally does, isn't it? Because which one's this? This was the Independence Day one, and he does the other one, Cinco de Mayo, and then he does the one that he normally does a few.
When's Cinco de Mayo?
That's what I was going to check. Should we check?
I thought you would come on.
I should know.
Mexican
I don't
history.
think it's December, innit? It's
but he does usually fight in December.
Yeah, that's May. That's what he's done, isn't he? So he only does May. So when are we now? September. So yeah, he may do one.
We'll see. If not, I can't see him wait until May.
No, I think he'll have one.
Fight again.
He normally has one in between, doesn't he? In that Christmas time type B, and then
unless he has some time off.
Yeah, and
possibly.
Then
we'll see. But Berlanga, go and have a little rest. Get back in there as soon as you can.
I don't think there's any shame in doing it.
Eddie Hearn will get him a good fight. I think Eddie Hearn was lining up some fighters anyway for him, but I'd throw him in with the likes of a Caleb Plant, a Munguia. I'd keep him away from him, Billy.
I'd keep him away from him, Billy. I think probably somebody else to warm up. Not warm up, but have a measure of get a bit more experience. Then go against the Plant, probably, or a Munguia, and then or Plant and then Munguia, and then that's when he step up to an Mbili. I think Mbili may have it.
Well, he's a big super middleweight, isn't he?
He's quite a bit,
and he's a young lad. So
and he can take a punch.
And he could move up to light heavy in the future.
Yeah, in the future maybe. Well, he's got the height and the thing in it. Whereas some of them are a bit shorter. Like Munguia and him are both quite tall.
Yeah, so they could move up.
Upwards of 6 foot. So
yeah, interesting time in the super middleweight division. Fight each other and see how you get on. One of them titles might become available.
Yeah. Well, the IBF's already gone off.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Actually, should we see who's in there? Who's the IBF rankings? Well, yeah, William Skull is the number 1, and then Shishkin is number 2, and Billy's number 3 on that list. Pacheco.
Is William Skull the champion?
Well, no, it's vacant. So there's a vacant one to fight for there.
So I think the IBF are pretty good.
So they're probably going to get 1 or 2 of those in. So they'll make one of those fights, but the other ones are lower. And Billy's in that thing to get a belt. Munguia will be in there. No, I can't see our man on there. Plant and Berlanga aren't on that list. But Bazinian's in there. But that's the opportunity you could have.
Right, so the IBF have ordered a vacant title fight between William Skull and IBF's number one contender, Shishkin.
Yeah, they're the number one and number two.
So
both unbeaten, 22-0 and 16-0. So that would be interesting. And then there's a target to go for.
Yeah, so we...
so I think all of them are potentially world...
Go and fight for the IBF title.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
And on our predictions, I predicted Canelo KO round 10. You predicted a Canelo KO round 8. And we were both wrong.
Well, it wasn't like... But maybe what we should have... He's going to try to knock him out, because in the 8th round, he had 21 punches. 16 power punches landed, and he threw like 47, which Canelo is like, that's like a good go. 34 power punches, 47 punches from him. And round 10, he threw 53 punches, 27 landed. So 41 power punches thrown, 20 landed. I think his power punch landing ratio was 50%, nearly 49%.
Yeah, I mean,
we proper gave it a go. He tried for us, but
we
just
picked the right
it.
man, but we just we got it wrong.
Well, even Canelo said then he goes after the 8th, or after then it's going to be. So he did try for us, but like in the 8th round and the 10th round, he'd give it a proper go. That's his two heaviest hitting rounds. I mean, 11th he tried as well, but but the biggest round were the 8th and the 10th.
I tell you what, I did find quite funny.
We were close.
I forgot what round it was. Might have been the 12th actually, where Berlanga stood in the centre of the ring, was trying to get the crowd up, and they were like, yeah. And then Canelo did it with one hand, and he was just like, yeah. He's like, yeah, mate, you ain't got the crowd on your side.
Well, I think he's earned a bit more respect by the end, because they weren't quite booing him as much as the end.
But the Mexican people just love Canelo, don't they? So,
well, I think he put a show worthy of being where he can just put one hand up and make it. Like I said, by the 12th, I think he knew he wasn't going to get him out of there, so he just...
Well, Eddie Hearn was saying he could possibly do a show in Puerto Rico with Berlanga. Now that would be good.
Yeah. A few good boxers
with a good opponent. That would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, it's going to open up. That's the thing. If you've got the IBF opening up it with a belt, there's something to go for, right? We don't think any of them beat Canelo at this point. I mean,
just forget about the belt for a minute.
But there's enough big fights
there.
It's worth watching.
Fights there.
Yeah, there's enough good talent there that are potentially all world class fighters. Yeah. So I think there's enough competition there. It's not a dead division. It's I
think sometimes we have to forget about the belts, and you just because they'll make a belt up anyway. So you might become like the WBC Central American World Champion or something.
Yes.
They like to make up titles, or a WBC second
what are you saying?
Regular. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You corrupt lot. Joking, please don't sue me.
All comments. That's the disclaimer on there. No, well, there's obviously the interim titles and all the things. So I think there's a room for manoeuvre. There's a lot of good fights there.
Yeah.
Even if we take Canelo out the equation, if he's going with one of the others. And I think it's an interesting division. And Berlanga's he's earned his stripes now.
Yeah, I'll be look forward to see who Canelo's going to fight next. Because I think he'll have a little rest, and then he'll be sitting there going, who do a fight next?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a big name, obviously.
Well, the two obvious names are, like we said, Benavidez
who's
and
it going to be?
Crawford doesn't really make sense for him. I think if they can wingle it and he can get the right deals, not that we're giving His Excellency any ideas, but I think him versus Benavidez fights the winner of.
I mean, the thing is, it
makes sense for both of them.
He doesn't need.
He doesn't need to do it.
No, but he doesn't need His Excellency there either to do it.
Well, they can do it anyway, isn't it?
His pay-per-view buys alone will
covered. I think. Well, he'll get enough fans to do. Well, any of them could do it,
and he's on the zone anyway.
All of them could make it happen. So, however they can make it happen, but it would be interesting to see.
Let's see what happens.
The winner of them against the winner of Bibble on Better Beard would be some epic 2 fights or 4 fights. 3 fights. Sorry, I can't even add up.
We'll see.
Well, you could have 4 because you could have the losers. The loser, it's 4. Let's make it that. that'd still be worth watching. Whoever loses against, whoever on there, I think all of them would be epic. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we shall see you in the undercard video or the next video. Usual, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think, how we could improve, or what else you would like us to see us talk about. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you very much.
Toodle pep.